Bangalore. Hundreds of Muslims lined up
with
Israel,
those placards on the
all of
MG
that,
road or whatever. But then there is a narrative which Yogi has said. If you are with the Hamas, please vacate UP. So that they understand. There is hardly any these kind of occurrence which will happen in UP. You have to have a strong federation. You have to, within the democracy, there is, if you are honest, if you are doing it for the larger good, if you are strong, things will not happen.
There's an old saying, Islam only understands force.
We must look at the grand design of what these radical Islam or I would say political Islam wants. First, they will use these terrorists to create this kind of a incident, large scale incident. So they will broadcast it. So when they broadcast it, it will show panic, it will show mayhem, it will show destruction. So they have created a narrative that we are all powerful. And if it is, you are not with us, then we will destroy you. When that happens, it creates a kind of a refugee kind of a crisis. People want to get away from that zone. North Israel has been vacated. South Israel, which was all along that 2 kilometers belt of the Gaza Strip, had to be forcibly vacated. Otherwise, people would have been on the beaches. This is the best weather to be on the Mediterranean coast. There were musical festivals going on. There was so much of music and dance and general kind of a feel-good factor happening in Israel. So they create that kind of a narrative, and then they show that we are all powerful. That initiates a refugee crisis, and then also it brings a kind of a reaction. When the reaction is when Netanyahu says, I will eliminate 50,000 cadres of the Hamas, it is very easy to say it. It is very, very difficult to execute. How do you identify? They have all melted away
with the people.
Do you also know that we need to just get over the first 7-10 days? By then something will happen like the hospital which happened here, and the world opinion will slowly start changing. That children are dying, the wounded are dying, pressure on Israel to stop, ceasefire, and that is what they would want. So they know that we need to just lie dogo, get into our trenches, get into our foxholes, ease out the first 8-10 days, or leave Gaza through the tunnels, and then after that it will be hunky-dory, back to the normal. But what it has created...
They would have executed...
It has created a kind of a backlash, which is very strong. Now, when this backlash happens, the world opinion changes. So, the UN says, I will send in now to rebuild. I will send so many more dollars into Gaza. The Western democracies say, we are ready to take refugees from Gaza. We will give them Panavi shelter, we'll give them whatever. Egypt says, I already have 95 lakhs. I can't take any more, so it has to be...
Seal their borders.
We will seal. It has to be shared. But all other Arab nations, no, we don't want.
Nobody wants them.
Germany will, with a kind of a flower, certain people with white flower, please come in. Norway will do it, Sweden will do it. And all these kind of democracies, Canada will do it, Trudeau.
Shockingly, there are people, I saw a video of this 6th journalist in Times Now.
Pradeep Datta, yeah.
He was interviewing a line in Tel Aviv, I believe, 20-30 Israelis, oldish, all standing with placards. We want an exchange of prisoners. And I was wondering, why are they carrying them? And soon somebody answered, we don't want revenge. We want only an exchange of prisoners. As if this is going to stop.
So that was a ploy. 199 prisoners, because there is a history to it. For one soldier, Gilad, they had exchanged thousands of Palestinians were left. They were left. So they thought 199 prisoners. So they can dictate whatever has happened. But now there's a resolve. They say they can be, if you stop shelling or air attacks, we'll start returning the prisoners. No, first return, then we will see. So there is no kind of a thing. But when getting back to what the narrative which terrorists do, now when there is this kind of a world opinion happening and people are ready to take in refugees, happened from Syria, happened from Morocco, happened from Algeria, happened from Somalia. So they all go and swamp Rohingyas, if you take it in the Indian context. You see, Kashmiri Pandits, from there they settle down. So Pandits are different. They are not. So these pockets of so-called minorities which have come into your country to play the victim card start demanding special rights slowly, slowly. Then they start proliferating. They change the democratic status of that area.
The entire demography
Be it
changes.
Okhla, be it Shaheen Bagh, be it certain other pockets of Delhi. But the local politician will, for the vote politics of again, will give him an Aadhaar card, will give him something, freebies and all that. And then they have start demanding the right. And as they get stronger, there are violent protests. And they want to change the narrative. Then they want to change the regime. So that is happening to world over. The attempts are being made, and when they change the regime, it is part of that larger caliphate or Khorasan. So that from the Middle East to Indonesia, we will have one kind of a caliphate. So this is a narrative with the every Islamist. Everyone who is a follower of political Islam would want to attempt. But they will use the militant part of that political Islam group, that is the terrorist organization, to initiate this kind of a thing. So this is the entire cycle, and it keeps repeating in different regions at different times with different intensity. And that is why you'll find that there will be Muslims, they may be Shia or Sunni. Yellow is a Palestinians are Sunni, but a Shia Iran is supporting with them. So that kind of a narrative happens because in the larger, when they look at the larger picture, it is Islam. Their division will come in later, and that is where it would be a maybe politically incorrect statement to say that if Jews are persecuted the world over and they have no other place to go, same is the thing with Hindus. They would have no other place to go if something like this happens.
I have one more connected point, right? And we've talked about this. The underlying, the bed of Islam, pan-Islamism, caliphate, khilafat, khalifat. How this population is rising. It's 20-25%, whatever it is, and we've not had a census now. We will have to be open about talking about the problem within Islam, the kafirhood within Islam, right? If we do not talk about it, then we have it's like General Rawat used to say, we have a 2.5 war. I don't know if he never explicitly said it.
That 0.5 was even meaning more of the left-wing extremism, Naxalites, LWE, rather than Islam per se. But the fact is that we can't wish away this 25-30 crores or 30% of 25 to 30% in certain pockets. We can't wish it away. We can't just also tell them that go into Pakistan. We want Pakistan itself. I would want, personally, if you ask me, that a powerful Pakistan is not good for our interests. It will create more problem for you. A broken Pakistan. But so is he wanting to break you. So the battle is on. And he has a proxy, larger big brother China, which is helping him out to do it. So if we are looking at one border, we are not looking at a Pakistan border separately and a Chinese border separately. And we have a large coastline, 7,500 odd kilometers of our coastline to protect. Our interest in the IOR to protect. China, as on date, is 132% of the US Navy. And they are progressing at a much, much rapid pace. You see, from conception, from conceiving a thing to operationalizing and inventorization of that thing takes only 7 years in China. It takes 17 years in USA. And it takes 30 years or more in India. We just now retired the MiGs of the 60s, MiG-21s. So the fact is, there is a lot of catching up to do. And there is that is why all these initiatives, Make in India and all that, Atmanirbhar Bharat and all that, are not mere phrases. We got to work seriously towards it. But the fact is, now coming back to what you were saying, there is a problem. We can't wish it away. The first part for us is to realize that there is a problem. Only then we'll start working towards it.
And the politicians to talk about it.
And they're talking.
They don't.
They're talking. But yes, there is a Yogi, there is a Sarma in Assam who are talking about it. There are others who are talking against this, and having to divide the Hindus first further by caste-based kind of a census and all that kind of a thing. But the fact remains that we need to educate the Muslims. How do you educate? We need to modernize the Muslims. How do we? By mainstreaming them, giving them more economic opportunities, giving them more, I would say, education, which is modern education, so that madrasas need to be stopped. The funding to the madrasa needs to be stopped. Making more doctors, making more, there is a problem. Because they say if you make more in IAS and IPS officers at some stage, or bureaucrats at some stage, they are the ones who are going to. But that is something where a balance will have to be created. But the larger masses, we got to educate the women, because they say beti bachao, beti padhao, and see the impact it is happening. We don't say bas 2 ya 3 bacche now, because that beti padhao will educate the neighborhood. She will say, no, I don't want a second child or a third child, or there has to be a gap. So educate the child. Similarly, I am sure that the Muslim women who are seeing what is happening have a mind of their own. Even if they are forced by their husbands to go and vote for a particular party, they will see what is larger good for them and vote what they see or what their conscience allows. So the Muslims are an issue. At some stage, they say that there is a point beyond which, if they rise in the population, then we start catapulting towards a kind of a Muslim state.
Another civil war, another partition, ask for partition.
It is happening in Europe. You see, France may have banned a pro-Hamas kind of a thing, kind of a procession taking place in France, but France, Germany, Sweden, Belgium, they are no-go zones. Similarly in UK, similarly there may be a Brampton where are Sikhs, but there will be a time when there will be similar kind of ghettos of Muslims in US and Canada. So you can't wish that away, because they are procreating or producing at a much faster pace. So we have to be cogent of that threat, and we have to work towards it. But mainstreaming of the Muslims is something which has to be done, and it has to be holistically looked at, while also looking at our neighbor and ensuring that it hastens the kind of a slide which is happening, or it breaks up. If Sindh assimilates with India, nothing wrong with that. If Balochistan becomes part of Sistan Balochistan, we'll welcome that. If the FATA or the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa goes towards the greater Afghanistan, we more than welcome, and then we should be able to sort out that little Punjab, Pakistani Punjab. So that would be what a landlocked Pakistan we should be looking at and working towards. That's what I would say. Strong words, but that's my views. What we can do is stop this love jihad or these conversions and all these the missionaries which are. Now, why are the Christians maybe now siding with the Jews, but the Christians blame the Jews for crucifying their Jesus Christ? You see, so in their heart also, they feel that no, yaar, these Jews are getting too big for their boots. So this religion will always play a very prominent part in this geopolitics the world over. But the fact is, the clear and present danger is the spread of Islam and the radical form of Islam the world over. And we, the Christians, have 199 countries to go to and settle down. The Hindus have no other place to go and settle down.